I believe I deserve some recognition from this board.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
I don't understand.
Which part?
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 100 movies of all time. You heard us right, not top 10, not top 20, not even top 50. We're going all out.
Magic mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?
He's looking at you, kid.
You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
For this supersized list, we're looking at the most iconic, rewatchable, and influential films ever made. We're only focusing on narrative films, meaning no documentaries, but everything else is fair game. A list this big requires some extra help, which is why we created the Mojo Meter. The Mojo Meter is our new tool that aggregates everything that has ever been featured in a WatchMojo video to determine how much mojo that thing has. We've accumulated data points ranging from suggest page data to YouTube views to past list placement in order to come up with a Mojo Meter score in the hopes of determining a definitive rank of the top 100 greatest movies of all time. What's your favorite movie, and how many of our picks have you seen? Let us know in the comments. Number 100, Gladiator.
Father to a murdered son, husband to a murdered wife, and I will have my vengeance in this life or the next.
Like its protagonist, this film's road to glory endured one grueling trial after another. Russell Crowe proved difficult to work with. The script was rewritten so many times that shooting started before its completion, and actor Oliver Reed died mid-production. Gladiator ultimately prevailed, though, becoming a box office sensation and a Best Picture victor. Director Ridley Scott harkens back to the days of historical epics, complete with a commanding hero, a calculating villain, and set pieces that still have crowds cheering. The blending of practical effects with CGI in particular has held up remarkably well more than 2 decades later. Gladiator breathed new life into the swords and sandals genre, although none of the films that followed in its footsteps were nearly as influential or entertaining.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Number 99, Anchorman: The Legend of Ron Burgundy. The best movies are not always the thought-provoking dramas that studios push come award season. To rank among the all-time greats, a film just needs to keep audiences coming back. Few films have inspired more rewatches than Anchorman, so much so that we practically know it line for line. As such, we can't help but regularly work the news team's one-liners into our conversations.
They've done studies, 60% of the time, it works every time.
That doesn't make sense.
In addition to being one of the funniest and most quotable movies ever made, Anchorman is smarter than it seems. Behind the Yaz flutes, Sex Panthers, and spontaneous battles, the film makes sharp commentary on 1970s culture and the changes that era signified.
Mr. Harkin, this city needs its news.
Oh!
And you are going to deprive them of that because I have breasts? Exquisite breasts?
It may not be thought-provoking, but Anchorman does have much more to say than some may give it credit for. Number 98, Rocky. Before Sylvester Stallone was an action star, he rose from the humble roots of Rocky Balboa. Just as Rocky is a down-on-his-luck boxer, Stallone had primarily worked as a background and supporting player up until this point. Stallone took matters into his own hands by writing Rocky, but even then he had to fight for the lead role.
It really don't matter if I lose this fight. It really don't matter if this guy opens my head either. Because all I want to do is go the distance.
It is incredible just how much Stallone's real-life journey mirrors his career-defining role. While Rocky goes the distance in the rousing final act, the film went even further with a Best Picture Oscar. Since then, we've followed Mr. Balboa through his highs and his lows. It's the original underdog story, however, that inspires us the most.
I love you. I love you.
Number 97, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. In an era where many argued that originality was dead, writer Charlie Kaufman responded with what might be his best work. Directed by Michel Gondry, Eternal Sunshine is difficult to define. Is it a romantic comedy? A psychological thriller? Sci-fi? Fantasy? Or a little bit of everything? Likewise, relationships can't always be summed up so easily. There are memories we'd like to forget, but there are also ones that should be cherished forever.
Pretty Zwiak, please let me keep this memory. Just this one.
Good or bad, it's the journey that makes us complete. Jim Carrey's Joel and Kate Winslet's Clementine learn this lesson in an unconventional case of boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy... Well, we won't go into spoilers. Let's just say their final destination triggers the mind and heart.
Bye, Joel.
I love you.
Maybe in one time.
Number 96, Scream. Scream is often credited for reinventing horror when the genre was on life support. This Wes Craven film was perhaps an even bigger game changer in the realm of metafiction. After Scream came out, audiences not only started to notice the overused tropes in horror movies, but romantic comedies, teen movies, and numerous other genres.
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie. For instance, number 1, you can never have sex.
While Scream wasn't the first film to critique Hollywood, it remains among the cleverest. As tongue-in-cheek as Kevin Williamson's screenplay is, it still functions as a compelling mystery and slasher flick, reminding fans why they love the genre. It's carried by a courageous performance from Neve Campbell, who adds layers to the final girl archetype.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Oh, come on, you know I don't watch that shit.
Why not? Too scared?
No, it's just what's the point? They're all the same. Some stupid killer stalking some big-breasted girl who can't act, who's always running up the stairs when she should be going out the front door. It's insulting.
Featured on over 30 WatchMojo lists, there is plenty to rave and scream about. Number 95, Some Like It Hot. Men dressing as ladies generally isn't viewed as smart comedy, but when executed with wit, charm, and sincerity, the setup can not only be funny, but also say something insightful about sex and gender. Some Like It Hot remains the gold standard.
This is from me to you, doll. Beat it, Buster. Never mind leaving your door open. I got a pass key.
Seen as risque and even shocking upon release, this film demonstrated that the best comedies are usually the ones that take the most chances. The movie had audiences rolling in the aisles, helping to eradicate the Hays Code in the process. Jack Lemmon, Tony Curtis, and Marilyn Monroe have never been funnier than in this winning ensemble piece. Masterfully crafted by director Billy Wilder, it's screwball comedy at its finest. Nobody's perfect, but Some Like It Hot is close enough.
I'm a man. Well, nobody's perfect.
Number 94, Mean Girls.
That is so fetch. Gretchen, stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen.
Number 93, Get Out.
Get out. Sorry, man.
Okay.
Get out! Yo! Yo, chill, man. Get out! Chill, man. Chill.
Number 92, M.
Fine.
Number 91, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Number 90, Lost in Translation. Sometimes the stars align as the right people come together at the right time to produce something truly special. In the early 2000s, Scarlett Johansson was a promising ingenue on the verge of stardom. Bill Murray was an aging comedian ready for more mature roles, and Sofia Coppola was a blossoming filmmaker with a voice to share. Once these talents intersected, their lives were forever changed. The same can be said about Bob and Charlotte, two Americans who meet in Tokyo. The unlikely duo has more than loneliness in common, amounting to a meaningful love story as well as a story about self-discovery.
The more you know who you are and what you want, the less you let things upset you.
What Bob and Charlotte share can only last for so long, but Lost in Translation captures it like lightning in a bottle.
I don't want to leave.
So don't. Stay here with me. We'll start a jazz band.
Number 89, 8.5. Number 88, Airplane.
Can you fly this plane and land it?
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Number 87, City of God.
Parecia até uma mensagem de Deus. Se liga aí, mané. Honestidade não compensa.
Number 86, The Grand Budapest Hotel.
She's been murdered. And you think I did it.
Number 85, King Kong. WatchMojo videos featuring King Kong have been viewed over 10 million times. We're all familiar with the giant ape, and this is the masterpiece that made him a star.
Ladies and gentlemen, look at Kong, the eighth wonder of the world.
King Kong is essential viewing, especially for anyone pursuing a career in special effects. Technology has come a long way since 1933, as seen in the various remakes and reboots. However, this film's stop motion and other game-changing techniques have not lost their mysterious allure. It's a film that'll have any cinephile asking, how did they do that in a pre-digital era? Effects aside, it's the tragic story, the unearthly atmosphere, and the fabled dialogue that make King Kong a bewitching beauty. Every subsequent monster movie owes something to Kong, although few others have as much passion or soul.
Well, Denham, the airplane's got him. Oh, no. It wasn't the airplanes. It was beauty killed the beast.
Number 84, In the Mood for Love. Number 83, The Third Man.
Harry.
Eine Frechheit ist das, zu einem Krawall zu machen.
Number 82, Ghostbusters.
Got your stick? Oh! Beat him up! Make him hard! Ready! Let's show this prehistoric bitch how we do things downtown.
Number 81, Duck Soup.
Perhaps sometime we get a chance to dance together, huh?
I could dance with you till the cows come home.
Yeah.
On second thought, I'd rather dance with the cows till you come home.
Number 80, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. For years, Spider-Man 2 was the web-slinger's definitive cinematic outing. Into the Spider-Verse didn't just surpass that film. It entered a league of its own, making us reevaluate what a superhero movie can be and what animation is capable of.
Miles? Spider-Man?
Wow, Miles! You're doing it on command! It's about time, right?
While other animated features at the time were starting to blend together with similar CGI visuals, Into the Spider-Verse took a stylized approach, finding the missing link between comic books and computer animation. It may have been the medium's greatest breakthrough since the first fully computer-animated movie. What's more, the diverse ensemble, inventive action, self-aware humor, and powerful coming-of-age story made this film a cultural moment. Whether you're an aspiring filmmaker or a kid from Brooklyn, Miles Morales will inspire you to take a leap of faith.
That's all it is, Miles. A leap of faith.
Like, what's up, danger? Like, what's up, danger?
Number 79, Goldfinger.
Do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die. There is nothing you can talk to me about that I don't already know.
Number 78, The Princess Bride.
As you wish.
Oh my
Seriously, what have I done? Ow! Oh!
Number 77, Moonlight.
That right there? You're in the middle of the world.
Number 76, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Number 75, Inception. Whenever Hollywood becomes over-reliant on explosions and tired IPs, a unique film comes along that reminds us that blockbusters can challenge people.
You mustn't be afraid to dream a little bigger, darling.
Entering the 2010s, Inception provided a beacon of imagination. A heist movie draped in sci-fi and psychological drama, the film worked on multiple levels. Christopher Nolan's fan base could appreciate the layered plot and complex philosophies.
An idea. Resilient, highly contagious. Once an idea has taken hold of the brain, it's almost impossible to eradicate. An idea that is fully formed, fully understood, that sticks. Right in there somewhere.
Even if you didn't entirely understand the story, mainstream audiences were nonetheless blown away by the ambitious set pieces and practical effects. Either way, it's a film that is a treat to revisit. With each viewing, you find something new to admire, be it the narrative or the craft. Further proving its staying power, Inception has appeared on 50 WatchMojo lists, with more than 10 million views across them all. Number 74, The Sound of Music.
The hills are alive with the sound of music.
Number 73, Metropolis. Number 72, Black Panther. Number 71, Lawrence of Arabia. Number 70, West Side Story. The best cinematic version of Romeo and Juliet is technically a modern reimagining. Based on the stage musical, West Side Story trades in the Montagues for jets, the Capulets for sharks, and Verona for an urban playground. While the issue of prejudice remains at its center, the story expands upon this theme by exploring immigration, racial tensions, and what it means to be an American.
I like to be in America, okay by me in America, everything free in America.
For a small fee in America.
This isn't just communicated through song, but through dance as well. Whereas Jerome Robbins brings out the romanticized fantasy, Robert Wise captures the gritty realism. The directing duo strikes the ideal balance between these two moods, with New York serving as a fitting backdrop. Featured on 28 WatchMojo lists, West Side Story is as tragic, romantic, and Shakespearean as musicals get. Number 69, Stalker. Number 68, Nosferatu. Number 67, The Breakfast Club.
Don't you forget about me.
Number 66, The Night of the Hunter.
Leaning on Jesus, leaning
Number 65, Pan's Labyrinth. Pan's Labyrinth isn't just one of cinema's most absorbing fantasies, but also one of the most haunting films about the loss of innocence. Childhood can be a bleak period, especially for a young girl confronted by fascism and family drama. Ophelia's only escape is into a whimsical yet threatening fairy tale world that may or may not be in her head. For all the strange creatures Ophelia comes across, none is more monstrous than the human Captain Vidal.
No lo entiendo. ¿Por qué no me obedeció?
Es que obedecer por obedecer, así sin pensarlo, eso solo lo hacen gentes como usted, capitán.
WatchMojo lists featuring Pan's Labyrinth have been viewed over 11 million times. And there's a reason why, as this is Guillermo del Toro's magnum opus. For all the familiar elements del Toro borrows, he creates a world unlike any other, with a story bound to go down as legendary. Number 64, Beauty and the Beast.
Tale as old as time, song as old as rhyme, Beauty and the Beast.
Number 63, The General. Number 62, The Avengers. Number 61, Blade Runner.
All those moments will be lost in time. Like tears in rain.
Number 60, Fargo. Appearing on 23 WatchMojo lists, this Coen Brothers film encourages the audience to reevaluate the medium. We're used to seeing movies that follow a formula where everything works out. Fargo breaks free from the chains of convention. Our heroine doesn't even show up until roughly 30 minutes in.
You okay, Margie?
Yeah, I'm fine. It's just morning sickness. Well, that passed.
Characters who seem inconsequential at first turn out to be integral, while elements that drive the plot forward don't really matter in the end. You rarely know where the narrative is going, making the experience all the more exhilarating, twistedly funny, and surprisingly thoughtful. The harsh winter landscape encompasses the frustration that drives people to take desperate measures, but the warmth of Frances McDormand's Oscar-winning performance gives this icy story a heart.
And for what? For a little bit of money. There's more to life than a little money, you know.
Number 59, When Harry Met Sally.
Oh, God. Oh.
I'll have what she's having.
Number 58, Godzilla. Number 57, The Seventh Seal.
Du fick svart. Det passar ju bäst så. Inte sant?
Number 56, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Number 55, Mulholland Drive. In typical David Lynch fashion, Mulholland Drive is a strange beast from the get-go, but it transforms into something even more peculiar and alluring by the end. We've all had a weird dream that slowly deteriorated into a surreal nightmare. Upon abruptly waking up, we're not sure what we just experienced. Nevertheless, we'd like to go back and analyze what that was all about. We might not be able to record our dreams, But we can revisit Mulholland Drive for a deeper dive. No matter how closely you study the film, however, you are unlikely to find logic. You may find deep-seated commentary on Hollywood, sexuality, and reality versus fantasy, but it's what we don't understand about the film that makes it a masterstroke. Number 54, It's a Wonderful Life.
Look, Daddy, teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
Number 53, Parasite.
아, 잠깐. 제시카, 외동딸, 일리노이, 시카고. 과선배는 김치모, 그는 이사촌.
Number 52, The Bride of Frankenstein.
Friend?
Number 51, Once Upon a Time in the West. Number 50, The Social Network.
You have part of my attention. You have the minimum amount. The rest of my attention is back at the offices of Facebook, where my colleagues and I are doing things that no one in this room, including and especially your clients, are intellectually or creatively capable of doing.
On our suggestion page, WatchMojo viewers have brought up this David Fincher film over 341 times. That passion is unlikely to waver. The Social Network was in the zeitgeist upon premiering in 2010. Looking back over a decade later, this wasn't merely a movie of the moment. It encapsulated a turning point in society that's still unfolding.
$1 million isn't cool. You know what's cool? You?
$1 billion.
We can imagine a future where Facebook isn't the all-powerful entity it is now. However, the society that Facebook shaped may be a mainstay. It's a society where tech giants reign supreme, $1 million isn't even a fraction of what's considered cool, and people connect through screens rather than in person. Whether you think social media is bringing us closer or driving us apart, this film definitely started a conversation.
You better lawyer up, asshole, because I'm not coming back for 30%. I'm coming back for everything.
Number 49, Bicycle Thieves.
¡Al ladro! ¿Qué te sucede?
Number 48, Titanic.
I'm flying. Jack.
Number 47, Rosemary's Baby.
What have you done to it? What have you done to its eyes?
Number 46, The 400 Blows.
Tes parents disent que tu mens tout le temps.
Bah, je mens de temps en temps, quoi. Des fois, je leur dirais des choses qui seraient la vérité, ils me croiraient pas, alors je préfère dire des mensonges.
Number 45, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
I'm wishing for the one I love to find me today.
Being Hollywood's foray into feature animation, Snow White would always hold a significant place in history. What's amazing is how well produced it is for a first feature. Take this scene, for example, where the dwarves march around a corner with their shadows casting across the mountain as the sun sets. The animators didn't need to throw such artistry into such a brief shot, but they went the extra mile.
Hi-ho, hi-ho, it's home from work we go.
Every frame of the film has that level of detail and care. Walt Disney knew that Snow White couldn't simply be a trial run. With so much skepticism surrounding Disney's quote-unquote folly, the film had to wow audiences with its craft and prove that animation could resonate with us emotionally. Safe to say, Disney succeeded. Number 44, Vertigo. Number 43, The Shining.
Here's Johnny.
Number 42, Modern Times. Number 41, Jaws.
I can go slow ahead. Come on down and chump some of this shit.
Number 40, The Silence of the Lambs. Is The Silence of the Lambs a thriller or a horror movie? Either way, it's not the Academy's usual cup of tea. This made it all the more surprising when it became one of 3 films to win the Big 5 Oscars. Each accolade was well-deserved. As shocking as Ted Tally's screenplay is, it's also an intricate analysis of trauma and how dangerous one person's mind can be. Jonathan Demme's direction is graphic when it needs to be, but he knows when to let the audience fill in the blanks. Anthony Hopkins is the embodiment of evil as Lecter, but Jodie Foster holds her own against him and the other monsters.
You see a lot, Doctor. But are you strong enough to point that high-powered perception at yourself? What about it? Why don't you look at yourself and write down what you see? Maybe you're afraid to.
It's no wonder it won Best Picture and has since appeared on 39 WatchMojo lists. Number 39, The Maltese Falcon.
What is it?
The stuff that dreams are made of.
Number 38, Gone with the Wind.
After all, tomorrow is another day.
Number 37, Sunset Boulevard.
All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Number 36, Toy Story.
To infinity and beyond!
Number 35, Do the Right Thing. Stylistically, Spike Lee's tour de force captures that precise point in time when the 80s were ending and the 90s were on their way.
Fight the power! Fight the power! We got to fight the powers that be!
Thematically, Do the Right Thing is so unnervingly relevant that it could have come out today. Conversations about representation, needless excessive force, and racial unrest are still being had with no foreseeable end on the horizon.
Hey!
Upon release, many audiences asked why Mookie threw that garbage can in the film's unforgettable climax. As the years go by, more and more people are getting it. Our videos featuring Do the Right Thing have a 94.58% like ratio, showing how much its message resonates with modern audiences. Now more than ever, we recognize how a normal day can escalate into an infamous one.
Look, boycott Styles.
Go!
Yo, boycott Styles.
I got your boycott swinging.
Boycott Styles. Yo, what you laughing at?
Number 34, On the Waterfront.
You don't understand. I could have had class. I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody. Instead of a bum, which is what I am. Let's face it.
Number 33, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Number 32, Taxi Driver.
You talking to me? You talking to me? Well, then who the hell else are you talking to? Talking to me? Well, I'm the only one here.
Number 31, Die Hard. Number 30, To Kill a Mockingbird. This adaptation of Harper Lee's novel explores a serious subject from a child's perspective. Although Scout Finch doesn't comprehend everything about her father's case, she gradually comes to see that the world isn't as innocent as she assumed.
There's been some high talk around town to the effect that I shouldn't do much about defending this man.
If you shouldn't be defending him, then why are you doing it?
Gregory Peck gives a legendary performance as Atticus, a white lawyer who defends a black man, knowing that he'll likely lose. Prejudice is so deep-rooted in the time and location that the outcome seems inevitable. By setting an example for Scout, though, there may be hope for a better future.
Now, gentlemen, in this country, our courts are the great levelers. In our courts, all men are.
Recommended across our suggestion pages 280 times, To Kill a Mockingbird has touched generations. For every child coming of age, it is a rite of passage. For every adult, it's a trip back to that moment when childhood ended. Number 29, No Country for Old Men.
Call it. Call it, yes. For what? Just call it.
Well, we need to know what we're calling it for here.
You need to call it. I can't call it for you. Well, it wouldn't be fair.
Number 28, The Exorcist.
The power of Christ compels you! The power of Christ compels you! The power of Christ compels you!
Number 27, Alien. Number 26, The Matrix. Number 25, Jurassic Park. Whether you were a 90s kid watching their first PG-13 movie or a baby boomer who thought technology couldn't grow more sophisticated, we all remember seeing the Brontosaurus' arrival in Jurassic Park.
It's a dinosaur.
Facts! It's just one of the numerous moments etched into our minds, from the T-Rex's escape, to the raptors in the kitchen, to the lawyer's satisfying fate. Just as memorable are the film's lines, sounds, and characters, not to mention its commentary on tampering with the laws of nature.
I don't think you're giving us our due credit. Our scientists have done things which nobody's ever done before.
Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they didn't stop to think if they should.
Dinosaurs have never appeared more menacing or majestic, with visual effects that have ironically held up better than the ones in any of the sequels. We've included the film in over 59 videos, and as long as dinosaurs are awesome, expect to see it on more. Number 24, Seven Samurai. Number 23, Terminator 2, Judgment Day. Number 22, Back to the Future.
What did I tell you? 88 miles per hour!
Number 21, Mad Max, Fury Road.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Number 20, Spirited Away. With Princess Mononoke, a lot of people thought Hayao Miyazaki reached the summit of his esteemed career. Miyazaki was ready to go out on top until one fateful vacation inspired him to make a film aimed at 10-year-old girls. That sounds simple enough, and at its core, Spirited Away is a simple story about a young girl's journey home. That story is layered, however, with eye-popping visuals, breathtaking atmosphere, and rich coming-of-age themes.
Please, can't you give me a job?
Don't start that again.
Please, I just want to work.
Don't say that.
Every character is so distinctive that you could imagine them being the focus of another movie. Spirited Away never forgets that this is Chihiro's story, though, and it's one that will resonate with anyone who's ever had to adapt to a strange new place. Suggested to WatchMojo 524 times. This is the apex of Japanese animation. Number 19, Apocalypse Now. Many epics have conveyed the horrors of war, although there isn't another like Apocalypse Now. With a sun that almost always seems to be setting, the film is shot in a practically otherworldly way. That's what war does to a soldier. It makes them feel as if they're in another world and everything they knew before no longer applies. We also imagine it's what the apocalypse might look like if that ill-fated day ever comes. Francis Ford Coppola turns the setting into hell on Earth. As our characters head downriver, we're left to wonder if they'll find salvation or come face to face with the devil. When Marlon Brando finally appears, he only adds to the enigma. It's where No Man's Land and Wonderland intersect.
I'm a soldier. You're neither. You're an errand boy, sent by grocery clerks.
Number 18, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Be it a Mexican standoff or two men eating across a table, the Old West has rarely appeared more ruthless than in Sergio Leone's career-defining achievement. Even the titular good character isn't the most clean-cut fellow. After all, to survive such an unforgiving environment, you need to be at least a little bad and a little ugly. This doesn't mean that compassion can't occasionally beat out cruelty, however. The third entry in Leone's Dollars trilogy, this film made his previous spaghetti westerns look like dress rehearsals. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is composed of several sections that could have functioned as standalone short films. Together, they make up the most expertly shot, impeccably scored, and iconic western to grace the silver screen. Number 17, 12 Angry Men.
You've listened to the testimony. You've had the law read to you and interpreted as it applies in this case. It's now your duty to sit down and try and separate the facts from the fancy.
Most courtroom dramas put an emphasis on the defense and prosecution. But what happens in the jury room is usually a footnote. In 12 Angry Men, it's the other way around. Most of the runtime takes place in the sweatbox, as the jury attempts to reach a unanimous verdict. Although we know nothing about these 12 men as they gather around the table, we quickly get an idea of who each juror is based on their body language and carefully crafted dialogue.
I don't think so. He's much too bright for that.
Bright? He's a common ignorant slob. He don't even speak good English.
He doesn't even speak good English.
It's a testament to the brilliant cast, Reginald Rose's script, and Sidney Lumet's staging. While we never see the alleged crime either, it's just as engaging listening to the characters discuss the case, working through their doubts and personal biases along the way.
This kid is guilty, pal. It's as plain as the nose on your face. So why don't we stop wasting our time here? We're gonna all get sore throats if we keep it up, you know?
Number 16, There Will Be Blood. There Will Be Blood. It's a title that can be taken literally and figuratively. Daniel Day-Lewis's Oscar-winning performance as Daniel Plainview is like an oil well. The deeper he drills, the more Plainview becomes consumed by greed, obsession, and his own madness.
I'm gonna bury you underground, right? Oh! I'm gonna
Where are you underground?
When an oil rig explodes, it's like Plainview has opened a gateway to the underworld, as signified by the raging fire bursting into the heavens above. The true blowout comes in the jaw-dropping finale, though, as a false prophet is judged by a man who sold his soul, assuming he ever had a soul to sell.
Stop crying, you sniveling ass. Stop your nonsense. You're just the afterbirth, Eli. No. Slithered out on your mother's filth. No.
Suggested 290 times to WatchMojo, the film finds director Paul Thomas Anderson at his most poetic, uncompromising, and riveting. Simply put, it's his masterpiece.
I'm finished.
Number 15, The Lion King. Disney initially viewed The Lion King as more of an experiment than a guaranteed hit. As the production moved forward, however, the film grew more mature, epic in scale, and reflective of the company's own history. Just as the Pride Lands enter a dark age following Mufasa's death, the same can be said about Disney's animation studio after Walt passed. With the Disney Renaissance, the studio remembered what it once stood for and reclaimed its place among animation royalty.
Oh, I shall practice my curtsy.
The Lion King was not only the Renaissance's crowning achievement, but quite possibly the pinnacle of feature animation. We've discussed the film in 110 videos, which speaks to its perennial nature. Just as the circle of life continues, so does our admiration for this triumph. Number 14, The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, we're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. Here he is, the whiz of a whiz, if ever a whiz there was.
Like Snow White and King Kong before it, this timeless fantasy ignites the imagination. When Dorothy opens her door and we transition from sepia tone to Technicolor, she doesn't just enter Munchkinland. She enters a world of limitless possibilities where scarecrows spring to life, monkeys fly, and horses come in various different colors.
What kind of a horse is that? I've never seen a horse like that before.
The Wizard of Oz demonstrates that anything can be done in film. All it takes is a little bit of inspiration and a lot of perspiration. Even in a land as extraordinary as Oz, Dorothy longs to return home. After all, home is where the heart is, and this film has heart in spades.
There's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home.
The Wizard of Oz serves as a reminder that movies are a nice escape, but we shouldn't take reality for granted. Number 13, The Shawshank Redemption. The road to redemption and freedom can be arduous. Similarly, The Shawshank Redemption had to tunnel its way to a happy ending. The film underperformed at the box office upon release, and even after the Oscars raised its profile with 7 nominations, Shawshank lived in the shadow of other 1994 releases. As time passed, more people discovered this deeply moving story about friendship. From this friendship, Andy Dufresne summons the will to survive the direst circumstances. The film has since topped various greatest of all time lists, was preserved by the Library of Congress, and has been singled out 617 times on our suggestion pages. The film overflows with humanity, unearthing its ugliest side, its most hopeful side, and the countless nuances in between. Number 12, Casablanca.
Of all the gin joints in all the towns in all the world, she walks into mine.
Featured on 26 WatchMojo videos, Casablanca premiered just over a year after the US joined World War II. In many respects, Humphrey Bogart's Rick reflected America at the time.
When they come to get me, Rick, I hope you'll be more of a help.
I'd stick my neck out for nobody.
As war rages in the background, Rick drowns out the sounds of injustice with music and booze. When Ingrid Bergman's Ilsa arrives at his gin joint, Rick is compelled to stick his neck out for the woman he once loved. and may still have feelings for. As the film progresses, Rick becomes less motivated by his own personal gain and more by the greater good. Like the US, Rick can no longer claim to be neutral and chooses a side. Although the war has since ended, Rick's internal struggle can connect with all generations.
If that plane leaves the ground and you're not with him, you'll regret it. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon and for the rest of your life.
But what about us?
We'll always have Paris.
Number 11, Singin' in the Rain.
Good morning, good morning. It's great to stay up late. Good morning to you.
There isn't a movie musical as beloved as Singin' in the Rain, although it would be several years until the film achieved this status. While the film performed admirably in 1952, that was only a drizzle compared to the tidal wave of praise that would eventually rain upon it. So what is it about this musical that stands out above all the rest? It's a combination of the choreography, the comedy, the commentary, the performances, the romance, and, naturally, the singing.
I'm singing in the rain, just singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling, I'm happy again.
The key ingredient is joy. Have you ever felt so overjoyed that you couldn't stand still? Singin' in the Rain is that feeling incarnate. And when somebody is overcome with such positivity, they have to express themselves through song. What a glorious feeling indeed.
Dancing and singing in the rain.
Number 10, The Dark Knight. Superhero movies weren't always taken seriously, and even today, they're still fighting for respect among certain cynics. The Dark Knight was a turning point that changed everything, however.
But I know the truth. There's no going back. You've changed things. Forever.
Yes, it has Batman. Yes, it has the Joker. And both represent what their comic book counterparts did. The line between the comics and the real world is no longer present, though. Likewise, the line between good and evil isn't as straightforward as Golden Age superheroes made it seem. Christopher Nolan reveals how much Gotham mirrors our society, from the merchants of chaos to the symbols that keep hope alive.
Because he's not our hero. He's a silent guardian, a watchful protector.
Showcased in 78 WatchMojo videos and 4,040 suggest pages, this superhero movie is just as much a crime drama, with one of the greatest performances across all genres.
It's gone.
Number 9, Goodfellas.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
By the early 90s, Martin Scorsese wasn't sure if he could bring anything else to the gangster genre. That is, until he read Nicholas Pileggi's nonfiction book about Henry Hill.
You know, we always called each other Goodfellas. Like you'd say to somebody, "You're gonna like this guy, he's all right. He's a good fella, he's one of us." You understand? We were good fellas, wise guys.
Scorsese felt Wise Guy tapped into something fresh, namely the day-to-day life of being a gangster. While the film explores the glamour of being wealthy, respected, and seemingly untouchable, it also pulls back the curtain. Going into great detail, we see how this world operates, from the merciless actions these men commit to the more monotonous aspects of organized crime. Of course, when you're in such a violent profession, burying a body becomes routine. Scorsese makes the audience feel as if they've walked a mile in a gangster's shoes, leaving a trail of bloody footprints behind. Number 8, 2001, A Space Odyssey. If you randomly selected any 2 Stanley Kubrick films, you'd see his versatility. Dr. Strangelove is one of the most well-crafted comedies ever made, balancing grim Cold War commentary with almost immature moments.
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
You'd never think that such a dialogue-heavy film came from the same director as 2001, which tells much of its story through visuals. Then again, these two films do share a disturbing parallel. In Dr. Strangelove, doomsday is commenced by humanity's incompetence. In 2001, humanity is almost destroyed by its pursuit of knowledge. HAL 9000 is more efficient than even his creators realized, becoming a threat rather than an asset.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Featured in 50 WatchMojo videos, 2001 continues to spark discussions about how far our species has come and how far we should go. Number 7. The Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King. There was a time when The Lord of the Rings and the word unfilmable went together like first and second breakfast. Technically, Ralph Bakshi's mostly rotoscoped version showed that Tolkien's books could be realized on film, but he only got to tell a fraction of the story. Peter Jackson gave us the whole tale, told over the course of 3 epic films.
For Frodo.
We're not sure what's more amazing, that this trilogy got made at all, that it so authentically brought Middle-earth to life, or that each film improved upon the last. The Return of the King was as stimulating, satisfying, and culturally significant as finales get, bringing the franchise an overdue Best Picture Oscar and an additional 10 wins. It's a milestone in every sense. Number 6. Pulp Fiction. Is Inglourious Basterds Quentin Tarantino's masterpiece? It comes close, but we'd give that distinction to Pulp Fiction. Some may describe Tarantino's second directorial outing as a gangster film. On the surface, it is. Looking at the bigger picture, though, it's about people who just so happen to be hitmen, crime bosses, and those who get on their bad side.
You know what they call a quarter pounder with cheese in Paris?
They don't call it a quarter pounder with cheese?
I mean, they got the metric system. They wouldn't know what the quarter pounder is.
And what do they call it?
They call it Royale with cheese.
Royale with cheese.
That's right.
More time is spent talking about $5 milkshakes and Royale with cheese than mob life. This makes the characters surprisingly relatable, but at the same time, they're the kind of figures we only see in the movies. That is what Tarantino does best, making stylized pulp feel natural.
Yummy.
You think I can have a sip of that?
Be my guest.
I gotta know what a $5 shake tastes like.
None of his films did this better than Pulp Fiction, which our users have mentioned on 1,438 suggest pages. Number 5. Schindler's List. Throughout his early mainstream career, Steven Spielberg was known for films that evoke childlike wonder. It wasn't until the early 90s, several years after becoming a father, that Spielberg felt capable of approaching Schindler's List. Watching this Best Picture winner, he sees Spielberg mature as a director, and as a person as well. For a period in his life, Spielberg struggled to accept his Jewish background. Spielberg made Schindler's List for himself, his family, the generations lost to these violent times, the generations saved thanks to Oskar Schindler, and members of the Jewish community who are still searching for acceptance, both internally and externally.
There's Hebrew from the Talmud that says whoever saves one life saves the world entire.
It's a film that arguably made the world a better place by exploring humanity at its worst and best. Number 4. Star Wars Episode 5: The Empire Strikes Back. Whereas the original Star Wars embraced the light side of the Force, The Empire Strikes Back tapped into the dark side. Not just aesthetically, but on a character level as well.
If once you start down the dark path, forever will it dominate your destiny. Consume you it will, as it did Obi-Wan's apprentice.
Vader.
When we first met Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader, they appeared as far apart as two characters could be. In the sequel, our hero and villain are revealed to be closer than initially thought. And we're not only talking about that twist.
No.
I am your father.
No. It's not true.
Through visual storytelling and philosophical discussions, the Star Wars mythos became less black and white. Just as the film's darker tone surprised some, nothing is what it seems. An X-Wing can be no heavier than a stone, an old friend can be a backstabber, and the hero can be tempted by evil. Number 3. Psycho. The suspense in many Hitchcock films stems from vulnerable yet relatable situations. James Stewart being laid up with a broken leg comes to mind, but few situations are more commonplace than taking a shower. That's one reason the notorious shower sequence in Psycho sticks with us. Although synonymous with the film now, this scene was only hinted at in the original trailer. It's obvious why, as it would have given away one of the numerous twists.
She just goes a little mad sometimes. We all go a little mad sometimes.
What speaks to the film's strengths is that no spoiler can take away from the experience. Even if you know what happens in Psycho, you're so enamored by the performances, cinematography, and atmosphere that you'll get lost in the story regardless. Hence why it's been featured on 51 WatchMojo lists. Number 2. Citizen Kane. Orson Welles delivered several opuses, including Touch of Evil. When your first feature is Citizen Kane, however, it's hard to top oneself.
I made no campaign promises, because until a few weeks ago, I had no hope of being elected.
Highlighted on 588 suggestion pages, Citizen Kane progressed cinema with its narrative and technical breakthroughs. While those techniques are standard issue now, Citizen Kane nonetheless remains a revelation of showing versus telling. This isn't to say the dialogue isn't masterful, but the film also demonstrates how one person's life can be epitomized with one image. Charles Foster Kane is based in part on William Randolph Hearst, although we can't help but see much of Welles in the character as well. Part of that is because Welles plays Kane, but both men were mysterious, controversial, and fascinating, although the public may never fully understand either.
I don't think any word can explain a man's life. No, I guess Rosebud is just a piece in a jigsaw puzzle. Missing piece.
Before we get to our top pick, here are another 100 honorable mentions. Just kidding. But there are definitely some worthy contenders. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. The Godfather.
I want you to rest well, and a month from now, this Hollywood big shot's gonna give you what you want.
It's too late. They start shooting in a week.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
The Godfather has been mentioned 1,630 times on our suggestion pages, which is an offer we couldn't refuse. But what makes this Francis Ford Coppola film the absolute greatest? There's the immortal dialogue, arresting direction, and unparalleled cast, but every film on this list is exceptionally made. The Godfather was a turning point unlike any other, though. The film came out after the classical Hollywood era ended and new Hollywood emerged. With this changing tide came a shift towards realism and anti-heroes. The Godfather signified this with its brutal depiction of crime, family, and the American dream's dark side. While not the first film to accomplish this, no movie before or since has done it with more gravitas. Although The Godfather Part 2 did come close.
That Corleone.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.